All right, we are live. So welcome back to Dapp University. So today we got a lot to talk about in our live stream. We're going to look at some good news for crypto because it seems like all we've seen is bad news. All we've seen is, bearish price action, negative sentiment around the crypto space for months and months and months now, mostly. The majority of this year. And today we'll talk about some good things that look like they are developing to get a little bit of a relief from all of the relentless bad news that we've seen so far. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to look at a lot of other news updates that have happened in space since our live stream yesterday. Again, we do these live streams Monday through Friday on this channel. Just subscribe, turn on notifications. You're going to find out about those whenever we go live. Of course, going to take a quick look at the crypto markets, answer some of your questions, and a whole lot more. So if you're new around here, hey, I'm Gregory. On this channel, I turn you into a blockchain master. So if that's something that you're interested in, then smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to this channel. And if you want to master blockchain step-by-step start to finish, then head on over to dappuniversity.com/bootcamp to get started today. Okay, so we got people jumping in the chat here. We've got Dale, Above Realty, Jay Lee, Jeff, Just Kaz, Automatic Beats, Wendy. Let's see here. I got to figure out how to pronounce that one, if it's KY Taurus or if it's like short for Kentucky Taurus. Let me know down in the chat below. Revolution World, Alden, welcome. Okay, so let's jump into this. Let's talk about finally some good news for crypto. Okay, so I'm going to talk about several different things that sort of string together to kind of form a common theme that may not be super apparent if you're not really kind of plugged into what's happening in this space. That's one of the reasons I'm going to try to make this video. And again, this is sort of to be a little bit of a relief from just the relentless negativity that we've seen in crypto pretty much all year. And I want to focus on some positive things and also some potential positive developments that could be coming on the pike for crypto. And if you've been watching the crypto markets at all, it seems like there could be a sense of these things already playing out in the markets themselves. So again, nothing I'm saying in this video is not be financial advice. This is just what I'm personally seeing, okay? And interpreting this as positive developments, at least a step in the right direction. So to set the stage for this, all the negativity we've seen in crypto this year has mostly been around two main things, okay? Two main things. Number one is just a complete shift in monetary policy to try to fight inflation. Again, I'm going to talk about several macroeconomic concepts in this video. I'll be very clear every time I make these. I'm not trying to get on these videos and try to pretend like I'm some sort of macroeconomics expert. That's not my goal. My goal is to try to tune you into the conversation that's happening with other people who actually do know what they're talking about. I get the basics, right? I understand to the level that it makes sense, but I'm not going to try to weigh in on my own views and try to forecast where the economy is going. Most of the people who are paid to do that in the first place aren't even good at that. So why would I even try to? So anyways, just know that. But anyways, so, whenever basically about a year ago, almost, we're about 45 days since the 1 year anniversary of the Bitcoin top. I actually put that on my Twitter yesterday. That's pretty crazy. I was doing the math and I was like, wow, we're almost coming up on the year anniversary of the all-time high for Bitcoin. And ever since then, we've been in a downtrend. Of course, we saw some, sort of last ditch efforts by altcoins, particularly Ethereum and others before we kind of went into this bearish territory. But why did that happen in the first place? Well, essentially, it doesn't take a genius to see that inflation is a problem, that rising costs have been going on everywhere. And essentially, the central banks have decided to, hey, we're going to try to fight inflation by raising interest rates and tightening monetary policy. And with that decision, we've seen pretty much every single asset class tank, okay? Really with the exception of real estate. Real estate hasn't quite tanked yet. And there's lots of people who are like, oh, just wait for it to happen. Real estate moves slower, blah, 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 blah. We'll have to wait and see for sure. With that, it definitely has softened and slowed down, but has definitely has not seen quite, anything in the real estate markets play out like it's happened in stocks or crypto. But I digress. That's the headwind that we've been in all year, and stocks are doing the same thing, crypto is doing the same thing, and the question is always, hey, when are we going to get some relief? When can we potentially reverse this trend into the other direction? Okay, so first of all, one thing I want to talk about is that, we're starting to see crypto hold up over the past, 14 days, particularly around Bitcoin, especially relative to stocks and other currencies, okay? Because if you look at what's happened, you know, in, stock market, crypto's been holding up relative to that, okay? Yeah, we've seen lots of people who are saying like, hey, it's just going to go lower. It's just going to go lower. We're going to break down further and further and further. And it hasn't really happened. Okay, we've seen some volatility, particularly around the last last FOMC meeting. Okay, we saw some volatility on the last, rate hike increases. But it's not like Bitcoin has just gone back down to $10,000 and below, like you see all the doomers talking about. So that's the kind of the first positive data point. Is looks like he has some significant support that's pretty much held up through the summer. Okay, with some slight differences. Okay, we made lows in the summer. Okay, just below $20,000. We've kind of revisited that, but we haven't really made significantly new lows. Again, we haven't gone significantly above those price levels. But it looks like there is some solid support that is forming there despite the bad things that are happening. So that's kind of the first data point is essentially crypto looks like it's forming some type of support over a very long time horizon. And that's what's statistically significant is the amount of time that we have continued to hold this. Now, there's a lot of traders that will say, hey, it's gone back and retested it so many times, and the next time it's going to retest, it's going to break through, right? That is always a possibility on the table. But I don't try to look so much at technical analysis, I try to look at the fundamentals. And so one thing that has definitely seen a pretty massive inverse correlation with crypto. What does that mean, inverse correlation? Well, basically that means when something goes one direction, it tends to go the other direction, particularly about directionality of prices. And that has really been with the U.S. dollar. And again, said I was going to talk about some, some macro concepts in this video. Again, I'm not trying to LARP as a macro expert by any stretch of the imagination, but I do want to clue you into the conversation that is being had that is widely affecting crypto markets. So if you look at the U.S. dollar index, about what's been going on, it's been on a parabolic run. So just like crypto can go parabolic, so can other assets, particularly the U.S. dollar index. That's really what's been happening. Okay. So what is the U.S. dollar index? Well, it's basically measuring the strength of the United States dollar among a basket of other currencies. Okay. So we've seen the U.S. dollar going up, and pretty much as it's been going up, everything else has been going down. Other foreign currencies, crypto, stocks, all that type of stuff. We've seen the euro really just take a nosedive, particularly over the past week or so, and it's been on this crazy downtrend since the beginning, well, really over the past 1 year. That corresponded with that Bitcoin top, like I was talking about. We're getting close to a year from that date. So what's the potential good news here? Okay, so the potential good news is that the dollar, there's a view that the dollar pretty much is in a bubble, just like I was talking about before. It's going parabolic, and that bubble could be, essentially popping pretty soon. Okay, so why would that happen? Okay, what could cause that to happen? Well, like I was saying before, the dollar index has pretty much been inversely correlated to what's going on with, crypto and stocks. It makes sense. People want to hold dollars when they're not in these assets that increases demand for dollars. It makes the strength of the dollar go up. And, one thing you can look at, a popular sort of theory that's been going around quite a bit, is the idea of the dollar milkshake theory. Again, I'm not going to try to weigh in on this necessarily. It's definitely one thing that is widely talked about right now. Essentially, the idea is that because many countries have weaker and badly managed currencies, a lot of their public and private debt is denominated in dollars. Due to pay this debt, they need dollars. There's lots of different factors to it, but that's one of the biggest ones. Essentially, the U.S. dollar is so widely used, they need dollars to essentially service the debt. All that debt was racked up during low rate environments, and now that we've raised interest rates, they have to pay these debts back, and they have to hold dollars. And that's one of the reasons that you see essentially, this go down, and you see stuff like this go up. That's not the only reason, right? That's not the only reason, but that's a profound impact. And so anyways, one thing that we're potentially seeing here is the dollar peaking, okay? The dollar bubble popping. Now, why would that be the case? Why could the dollar bubble pop? Well, essentially, there's a couple reasons. And this is one view that I thought was, pretty pretty solid. Basically, the dollar's exchange rate at present is a consequence of interest rate differentials, expected monetary policy paths, and risk aversion. So the dollar is a passenger, not the driver. Okay, so it's sort of like how crypto tends to thrive in these low rate risk on environments. Well, it's sort of the opposite is true. Is the dollar sort of tends to thrive in these risk off, higher rate and, uncertainty of the future, all that type of stuff, uncertain times. People wanting to go in dollars as also service their debt in dollars, like I was talking about before. And for that reason, the dollar is a passenger, not a driver. And so the dollar likewise is highly influenced by what we see in terms of monetary policy and other people's expectations for what that is in the future. Okay. So the good news here is that essentially the dollar, could be getting close to its peak. Okay, it's at one of the highest levels we've seen in a very, very long time. And so what could cause that? Well, part of it is essentially people already starting to front run a U-turn or a pivot by the Federal Reserve. So the idea is that everybody thinks they're going to get this nice entry handed to them on a silver platter back into the crypto markets, that the Fed is basically just going to announce from a top of a mountain, crystal clear, that they're going to change their monetary policy to one of tightening to one of expansion, and that it's going to magically correspond with the bottom of every market, and we're all just going to sit around a fire and sing kumbaya, and watch our bags rocket off to the moon. Like that, it's a really naive idea. Of course, we have seen U-turn happen in many other times in the past, essentially when we've seen recoveries, but there's no indication that that's exactly what's going to happen this time, and it's going to be like crystal clear as day. So one possibility is that you have people who are essentially going to try to front run that U-turn to get these entries at better levels before you have this sort of magical announcement when everybody's left chasing. So again, this is not financial advice. I'm not telling you to do this necessarily, but that is one view on the table. And so what's going to happen to all these dollars, right? These dollars are going to get deployed in order to front run that opportunity. And that could be one of the main catalysts to basically see the dollar bubble pop, actually come down off of its peak and start to trend downward. And even if you look at, the chart on, a longer time frame, it is hitting some type of resistance sort of around the current price level. Again, I'm not big into technical analysis. I'm not trying to call the dollar top at the point of this video, but there are lots of good reasons to think that we would potentially be close to a high, and that high could definitely correspond with, a downtrend, that those dollars getting deployed to assets could, correspond with essentially a front-running opportunity for a U-turn from the Fed, okay, which would sort of be the spark that helps, take things higher. So that's the other sort of good piece of data point for crypto. And the other one I want to talk about is definitely what's going on with the regulatory conversation around crypto. So basically, at the beginning of this stream, I said there were two main things that have been sort of like really negative for crypto this year. The first one's definitely what's been going on with the broader economy. The second has got to do with sort of crypto-specific problems, where as crypto was collapsing, with the economy, we saw these crypto problems internal to the ecosystem pop up and, really negatively affect the environment. We saw a lot of stable coins blow up. We saw the Terra Luna disaster. Okay, algorithmic stable coin blew up. All right, we saw lots of hedge funds essentially become insolvent. There's lots of contagion risks around some of the blow-ups in crypto. I've seen different lenders, go under. It's been a really bad look for the entire space. And that's had lots of people thinking that, the regulations are coming for us, okay? The regulators are coming for us, and it's not going to be good, all right? They're going to instantly bring up, Terra Luna and say, look, this was a disaster. We need to put stiff regulations on this. Okay. But here's a slight piece of good news. So basically, U.S. Fed Chair Powell urges caution on regulating DeFi. Okay. So as some policymakers are keen to press new rules on the decentralized finance sector following the collapse of Do Kwon's Terra USD, basically Powell's response is essentially is that regulation of decentralized finance or DeFi needs to be done carefully and thoughtfully, okay, given its, limited but still impact on the real economy. They said this at the event hosted by the French Central Bank on Tuesday, okay? So, why is this good news? Well, essentially, my whole view on this channel, and I've been talking about this, is that essentially, I think the regulations are inevitable for crypto. Okay, I think that they're going to. I mean, it is already regulated to some degree. All right, it's not like it's just absence of regulations. My view is that the crypto space has basically existed without super clear crypto-specific regulations for basically ever, and it can continue to do so. But I'm a realist in understanding that regulations are going to be imposed. So my whole desire is that we have the most favorable regulations possible. Okay. And what that means is basically not trying to copy and paste regulations from other sectors, or to regulate things in a way that you don't understand, but to actually thoughtfully create regulations from the ground up and to be in dialogue with the crypto industry to create those regulations. And that's closer to the tone of what he's saying here, which actually is good news, saying, hey, you need to be careful about how you do this, and that there is some impact on the real economy. Now, it's limited, and it is limited. I'm not arguing with that. But as crypto grows, it could definitely have a much higher impact. So, anyways, his remarks appear to urge some caution on those policymakers keen to rush into opposing rules in the wake of recent scandals exposed by the recent crypto crash. Okay. The DeFi winter didn't have any significant effects on the banking system and broader financial stability, lacks of links between them, but this demonstrates the weakness and work that needs to be done around regulation carefully and thoughtfully, and gives a little bit of time. So, anyways, you can check out more of the statements there, but I'm interpreting that as, some positive news. With the bad news would continue to be like, let's just throw the regulations on, get them done soon, ship it, ban crypto, all this type of stuff. But that's definitely not the tone that was taken here. And I think part of that is, we've seen pilots for central bank digital currencies, thrown out there. So we have to wait and see how those are going to interact with other systems like decentralized finance or DeFi, how they're going to create a central bank digital currency, if and when it's actually going to happen. But that does look like a desire that has been put in motion. So we'll have to wait and see there. Is this pre-recorded? It is not pre-recorded, Dr. Decal. So for the somebody's asked me the Trading Bot Masterclass. If you are in the Blockchain Mastery Program, you'll get access to it. Let's see here. Yeah, so much about the Celsius CEO resigning. Yeah, I definitely saw that. could this, somebody's asking, this Coinbase cloud could overtake projects like Kudos. Let's take a look here. I haven't personally used Kudos. So what about New York crypto regulation and stop mining is completely I haven't gotten too detailed on what's going on with New York. New York's had a pretty bad reputation for having pretty restrictive policies, though. I mean, so, you know, if I had to just, without knowing enough about what you're talking about, you know, if it's a mining ban, if that's what it is, if it's in New York, again, I'm not really 100% sure about what's going on with this particular situation. You know, does that suck for New York? It does. Does I think that really jeopardizes crypto in any real way? Not really. So saying bit license in New York is really important. It will be the model used nationally. Not necessarily. I mean, what did we see from, let's see here. And we saw Gavin Newsom veto bit license to regulate crypto exchanges. So it's not necessarily going to get adopted nationally. That's the governor of California, if you don't know who that is. All right, great questions, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up there early for today. You know, as always, smash that like button down below if you haven't already. Subscribe to this channel. There, I'll these videos out so the more people can learn about blockchain. And if you're as fascinated with this technology as I am, you know, you want to get your hands dirty, how can I get started today? You can go to my YouTube homepage. You can find those free courses there. They're like Udemy courses, but they're totally free. And if you like those and you want to take the next step, or hey, maybe you'll take a massive shortcut entirely, I share master blockchain step-by-step, start to finish over at dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. You don't have to be an expert to get started today. Help people with zero coding experience become real-world blockchain developers in a matter of months. So that's all I've got. Until next time, thanks for watching.